as Christians, should we partake in the Halloween activities or not? Some Christians take a strong position and argue that Halloween must be rejected. Christians should not have anything to do with it, while others argue that it needs to be redeemed from the grip of neo-pagans. So in this brief episode, let's go over the ancient origins of Halloween. Let's take a look at both sides of the argument and make assessment in the light of scriptural teaching. Welcome to Discern Scripture YouTube channel. We would really appreciate if you subscribe and help us reach a wider audience. Now let's get on with the video. Ancient origins of Halloween. Where did Halloween come from? How did it originate? Actually, there are two sides to this story. Let's go over them one by one. Does Halloween have a Christian origin? The word Halloween comes from Halloween. It means holy evening or hallowed evening. It is a festival celebrated every year on October 31st, the evening on All Hallows Day. The festival is also called All Halloween or All Saints Eve or All Hallows Eve, Hallow Mass, among others. From the 4th century, special services commemorating all Christian martyrs were held in various places. In the 9th century, some churches in the British Isles began holding a commemoration of All Saints on 1st of November. And in the 9th century, this was extended to the whole Catholic Church by Pope Gregory IV. Catholics, Orthodox, and some denomination of Protestants like the Anglicans, Lutherans, and Methodists observe the All Hallows Day or All Saints Day. It's a time specifically devoted to the solemn remembrance of the saints, martyrs, and all loyal Christians. In some parts of the world, activities such as lighting candles on the tomb of the dead and taking part in church rituals still remain common. Now let's turn to this question. Do Halloween traditions have a pagan origin? Halloween has roots in ancient pagan traditions, particularly the Celtic festival of Samhain. Samhain, celebrated around October 31st, marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It was believed that on that night, the boundary between the living and the dead was blurred, allowing spirits to return to the earth. People wore masks in order to imitate the unholy spirits. Some families and communities carve lanterns out of pumpkins or other vegetables with spooky faces and adorn their homes and lawns in Halloween style. These are traditional ways meant for warding off evil spirits. With the spread of Christianity, many pagan customs were incorporated into Christian traditions. All Hallows Eve, the evening before All Saints Day, emerged as the way to celebrate saints and martyrs, which eventually evolved into modern celebration of Halloween. While the contemporary Halloween celebration includes a mixture of these cultural elements, the mask wearing, costumes, trick-or-treating, and parties, its origins can be traced back to these ancient practices, both Christian and pagan. The recent popularity of Halloween. Modern Halloween celebrations began to take shape in the late 19th and early 20th century. This was influenced by a mix of immigrant traditions, particularly from Irish and Scottish immigrants who brought their Halloween customs with them. In the 19th century, Halloween began to emerge as a community-centered holiday, with events like parties and parades becoming popular. People started to focus on social gatherings and festivities rather than the more superstitious aspects of the holiday. And in the early 20th century, trick-or-treating became more widespread in the 1920s and 1930s. This practice was initially about children playing pranks, but it evolved into more organized activity, where children would go from door to door asking for treats. In the post-World War II era, Halloween became increasingly commercialized. In the 1950s and 1960s, it became even more popular with the rise of mass-produced costumes and decorations. This period solidified Halloween as a major holiday in American culture. However, its popularity grew during 1970s and afterwards, particularly coinciding with the growth of New Age practices. Halloween saw phenomenal growth in popularity with horror films, themed events, and a focus on elaborate dark decorations. The holiday has since become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Today, Halloween is celebrated in various ways across the world. Often elements of ancient traditions, Christian observances, and modern commercial practices are blended into Halloween celebrations today. Now let's turn to the Christian views on Halloween. Among most Christians, there are at least two lines of thinking that we can discern regarding Halloween. Let's go over them one by one. Number one, Halloween should not be celebrated by Christians. Many conservative Christians oppose celebrating Halloween for several reasons. Pastor John MacArthur's take is representative of this view. Let's take a listen.
Do you think Christians should celebrate Halloween?
No, it's just ridiculous. What is it about? It's just a bunch of, it feels more demonic every year, and you know, they start pumping out all these books and all these movies and all these television programs that are just satanic fantasies of horror, and just awful. No.
Those favoring this view point out the pagan origins of Halloween. They believe that Halloween has pagan roots associated with rituals and practices that conflict with Christian faith. They may view the holiday as promoting beliefs contrary to Christianity. Also, they show that Halloween focuses on darkness. They point out that Halloween often emphasizes themes of horror, death, occult, which can be seen as contrary to Christian values that promote life, hope, and light. Furthermore, they also see it as a promotion of fear and evil. As Halloween encourages fear and superstitions, this can lead people away from faith and foster negative feelings rather than positivity and community. Finally, they are also concerned about the influence on children. There are critical concerns about children being exposed to scary and inappropriate content. Some parents worry that Halloween can desensitize kids to violence, to expose them to the dark spiritual forces of evil. Concerned Christians feel that participating in Halloween activities might dilute their faith or lead to spiritual confusion, especially the youth. This makes them abstain from participating in anything to do with Halloween. Now let's turn to the second view. Halloween can be redeemed and customized for Christians. And there are others fine with celebrating Halloween with some modification and necessary adjustment. Some Christians believe that the holiday's pagan origins do not have to dictate how it is celebrated today. They may focus on the lighter and more playful aspects of Halloween. They might enjoy the creative expression that comes with costumes and decorations, viewing it as a harmless way to celebrate imagination and creativity. Some Christians feel that participating in cultural events like Halloween allows them to engage with their communities and share their values in a relatable way. And also there is this line of argument. Just because Halloween has been celebrated by the pagans, Christians need not and should not give up on observing it. What if some pagans begin to paganize Christmas or Easter celebration? Should we give up celebrating those festivals as well? It need not be the case. In the same way, Halloween can be reclaimed and observed by the Christians. Take a listen to this clip. He makes an argument in this line.
If someone opens presents on December 25th, does that mean that they're an ally of Christianity or they worship Jesus? No. So if a kid wants to dress up as a superhero or a princess and get candy from their neighbors on Halloween, does that mean that they're worshiping Satan? No. Now, I'm not saying it's okay to go dress up as a demon and partake in things of darkness, but I'm just saying let's look at Halloween for what it actually is. A Catholic holiday that was celebrated as such up until the 1960s when Satanists all of a sudden said, hey, we want that holiday now, and the church basically said, okay. If all the Satanists in the world came together and made a public declaration and said, hey, December 25th is our holiday now, and that's dedicated to the devil, would you still celebrate Christmas? I know I would. And yet that's the same exact thing that's happened to Halloween. It's never belonged to Satanists. And just because an ex-Satanist says so doesn't mean that that's the truth. Just because an ex-Satanist says that dressing up on Halloween is worshiping the devil doesn't mean that that's true.
Now let's make a brief assessment. It's interesting to note different line of thinking from different Christian denominations and faith traditions. Those belonging to the Catholic, Orthodox, and certain denominations of Protestants see Halloween as primarily a Christian holiday appropriated by and paganized by the society. They want to reclaim it, win it back from the pagans. Those belonging to the evangelical, charismatic, Pentecostal faith traditions do not feel the same way. They point out the dark spiritual side to Halloween and warn people to stay away from it. Particularly former practitioners of Satanism or witchcraft, people who came out of these practices and embraced Jesus Christ, they warn the dangers of participating in Halloween activities. This is Pastor John Ramirez. This is what he says. It's like having one night stand with the devil. Why would you want to cheat on Jesus? You don't see Satanists coming to the church one night a year to cheat on the devil. No way. This is ex-witch, now Christian Jenny Weaver. She shares why it is dangerous for Christians to participate in the Halloween activities from her experience and perspective.
This is a day that witches and Satanists look forward to, like Christians look forward to Resurrection Sunday or Christmas, or celebrating Jesus. This is a holiday that people are witches, Satanists, people that are doing sorcery and magic. They are on high alert. They will rest all that whole week so that that night they can be up throughout the night, practicing spells, the craft, even roaming around. You notice that if you look at statistics, that night there's more kidnappings, there's more people going missing, there's more crime, there's more murders that happen. That night is like the devil's play night.
Now here is my closing reflection. The Bible tells us God appointed special times and commanded Israel to observe festivals at various times of the year. Every one of the festivals that Israel celebrated in the Bible was related to something that the Lord had done for his people. Passover commemorates the deliverance of Israel from Egypt. Festival of Purim celebrates the deliverance of Jews through Queen Esther and Mordecai. Christmas and Easter are celebrated to commemorate the birth and the resurrection of Jesus Christ our Lord. A celebration of a festival is a way to revitalize our faith through renewal and entrench faith in the hearts of children, the next generation. It brings us closer to God and to our families and communities. Now, if we ask this question, how can the observance of Halloween, as it is celebrated today in our society, with witches and scary costumes, horror movies, skeletons, and all displays of darkness and evil, can vitalize our faith or strengthen the faith of our children? Are we edified by partaking in these festivities? Is it encouraging our sanctification or hampering it? This is something we as Christians need to think about. Another point I would like to share is this. Christians have long lived in non-Christian regions. When pagans celebrate their festivals, Christians often stay away from it. As it stands, Halloween has fully morphed into a dark neo-pagan affair in the Western Hemisphere. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11 says this, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. The Bible warns against practices tied to sorcery, witchcraft, and occultic activities. For example, Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 10 to 12 explicitly instruct believers not to engage in divination, spiritism, or consulting the dead. These were the practices of nations surrounding Israel. There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or daughter to pass through fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. Israel has to set itself apart from the practices of the surrounding pagan nations. Also, there is one more point that we can reflect on whenever we come across certain things that are not directly mandated in the scripture. We can run it through a small test, whether the thing is a negotiable or non-negotiable or neutral. For example, celebrating Pride Month for Christians would be a non-negotiable. It must be rejected as anti-biblical. It's an abomination. It's a clear no. The question with regards to Halloween is that whether it is a negotiable for Christians to join in. Knowing the Christianized backdrop to Halloween, we can understand why some Christians want to consider it as a negotiable. However, seeing the pervasiveness of the pagan symbolism in today's Halloween make us understand why some Christians want to stay away from it. Let me also share a story about missionaries in the mission fields of India. It's a festival celebrated with a lot of passion in India, cross-faith traditions and communities. Hindus celebrated, Sikhs celebrated, Jains celebrated, each having different legends and stories attached to this festival. When people became Christians in India, initially they did not celebrate Diwali. Many were obviously sad for not being able to partake in the festivities, so missionaries reimagined Diwali for Christians. Since Christ is the light of the world and we are called to reflect the light of Christ, Christians can, if they want to, celebrate the festival of light. That allowed Christians to celebrate Diwali with a new meaning and partake in Diwali while rejecting the paganism that surrounds it. So can this approach be applied to Halloween? Some Christians have attempted to customize Halloween and observe it as a holy vein. They carve out crosses on pumpkins instead of scary faces. They wear costumes of Bible characters and share candies with children. They teach Christian values using Halloween as an opportunity to point believers and children to the biblical teachings, away from the worldly emphasis. So this approach lets kids have fun while emphasizing the biblical perspective. Let me close with this one last thing. For Protestants, October 31st is also the day of Reformation, the day Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses on the door of the Castle Church in Germany. Why not we talk to our children about the lives of the reformers, teach them the values of Reformation, the five solas, and make it a time of learning about the heroes of faith, our forerunners in faith. This way, we can make the most of every opportunity to communicate faith and blessings of Jesus Christ into the lives of every participant for the glory of God. I'm glad you stayed thus far to check out this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and support our channel. Click on the bell icon so that you can get notification whenever we post a new video. Also, feel free to leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. God bless you all. Shalom.